are now entering in Mutengene College. This is the gate we are opening. Good afternoon, sir.
It's Dr. Trixie, can you come over? Just another, I don't want to run out and continue. And dear students, thank you for the opportunity you've given us to be here to talk to you about something that is very, very important and that they don't talk to you much often about. What are the most common diseases you hear about in Cameroon? We're not in the marketplace, so just raise your hand. What is the most common disease? AIDS, HIV, AIDS, what else? Conjunctivitis? Yes?
I don't think they can't take that now.
Chlamydia, sexually transmitted civil diseases. Please, there is something we need to know to understand TV, radio, or reading newspapers about cancer. Whereas malaria, you hear about it, tuberculosis, HIV/AIDS, the Ministry of Public Health of our country has declared that these three diseases, kill many people in Cameroon annually. But these three, the total number of deaths caused by these three diseases is not up to the total number of deaths caused by cancer. I don't know whether you understand that if 1 million people die of malaria, tuberculosis, and HIV/AIDS in Cameroon, more than 1 million people die of cancer. Why is it so? Why have you never heard about it? It is because there is no media attention has been focused on that. And it makes it in such a way that many people die or even contract the disease ignorantly. So we are here to first of all draw your attention to the fact that this disease exists. Secondly, we want you, as from today, to know that this cancer can get you or any other person. So, what do? You can protect yourself through decent, healthy lifestyles and attitudes. We'll see the type of attitudes you should have, the type of lifestyle you should adopt in order to avoid having cancer. The third thing is that please don't leave this hall without understanding anything. So that as you leave, all of you should be our ambassadors wherever you are. Not celeBritys for Africa ambassadors, but cancer ambassadors to draw your people's attention to the fact that when you start smoking, you are at a higher risk of having lung cancer. When you start having sexual relationships, you are at a higher risk of having cervical cancer. When you start drinking, you are at a very high risk of having liver cancer. So the doctor, she's Dr. Trixie. She's in charge of the Adventist Hospital in Boya. So she's been in Cameroon for quite some time, and I'm very sure she'll introduce herself more to you. And if she decided, alongside Andrea, to join us, it's because it's a very, very serious issue. Thanks very much, and I would like you to give a standing ovation, even while sitting, to Dr. Trixie for the sacrifice, please.
Thank you. That was a very good standing. I am from America, as I was introduced, Dr. Trixie. So before I begin too much further, if you are having difficulty getting me, just say something. Because sometimes my American English goes too fast. But I want you all to not leave, as Elijah was saying, without understanding the topic we are talking about today, which is cancer. And it is important. Maybe you don't hear about it like you hear about HIV and AIDS. Maybe you don't hear about it like you hear about malaria. But cancer affects women and men equally. Okay? And it is something that is not talked about very much. But when you come to the doctor, I see it. So that's why it is important. Because early detection of cancer can save you dying from it. So before I begin, has anyone heard of cancer? Raise your hand if you have heard of cervical cancer. See, any hands? Raise your hand up if you have heard of cervical cancer. Not much, huh? How many of you have heard of breast cancer? And then we're also going to talk about prostate cancer. Those were the handouts the boys got. Have you heard of prostate cancer? Okay. And the last one we talked about is lung cancer. Now we gave it to more of the boys, but lung cancer can affect boys and girls. Okay. So those are the 4 ones we'll talk about today. So I'm not sure. How do I advance the slides here?
Run up.
All right. So we'll begin initially talking an overview of what cancer is, why cancer kills, and then we'll turn into the specifics of cervical cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer, and lung cancer. Okay, and you can see all of the little divisions between the connections, because cancer cells are cells which are multiplying and reproducing at an abnormal fast rate. So cancer cells once upon a time used to be normal cells, but then somehow the genes inside the cell changed, they mutated, and they suddenly became abnormal. But instead of dying off, they started reproducing more and more. So cancer cells are cells that lack the ability to die and are abnormal. Okay? They can spread throughout your body. They will begin in one area of the body and will spread to the rest of the body. Mostly through your bloodstream, because your body pumps blood all over, or through what we call the lymphatic system. Your lymphs are also what we would call the protectors of your body, but your lymph flows all through your body as well. So that's how cancer cells will spread. This is a diagram here showing you a little bit more of what we say loss of normal control. So cancer cells are cells that are out of control. On the top, you can see that normal cells are going along and one gets damaged. That's the funny looking green one. So that one gets damaged. Normally, there's a mechanism that God has provided in our bodies that the body recognizes that abnormal cell delete. It's like pressing delete on your computer. It goes away. But in cancer, down below, an abnormal cell comes out, and for some reason, because of some genetic change in the makeup of that cell, it does not delete. It does not self-destruct. And so instead it continues this reproductive cycle, producing more and more cancer cells. So as we start to think about the cancer, where the cancers are, cervical, breast, prostate, and lung, think about the underlying cell that is causing that problem, and why when you catch it early, before it has a chance to multiply as many or travel as far, and then potentially invade the entire body. Next. This slide here is illustrating, on the bottom, time. Okay? Cancer needs time. Some cancers grow fast, some grow slow, but they all need some time in order to spread through your body. Okay? So time is one of those critical elements in cancer prevention. If you catch it early, it's much easier to control than if you catch it late. So over here we have time. Initially, your green cells there are just local. Now sometimes people can be lucky, and the cancer is a form of cancer that does not spread. We call those benign tumors. Okay, benign means not harmful. Means it'll grow as a small lump in one place, but it won't grow elsewhere. But at any time, sometimes benign can turn into metastatic. Metastatic means it will spread. And you can see in the left side or your right that malignant cancer cells will invade neighboring tissues. And how do they invade? Does anyone remember? Through the blood, through the lymph. Okay? Those are the two ways cancer likes to spread. Okay, next. There are many different types of cancers. Lots of different types of cancers. Think of all your body tissues. You have skin, right? Skin can get cancer. Okay? You have a liver. Right here. Your liver can get cancer. You have a colon. Right here. It can get cancer. You have a stomach right now. Hopefully that's nice and full of food. Right? That can get cancer. So any tissue in your body can get cancer. Some tissues in your body that are more likely to get cancer. Okay? Which is why we can concentrate on certain types. But that is why there's many types of cancers. Good. Alright, so the top 6 cancers. That's the GI tract, your intestines. Okay? So those are your top 6 types of cancers. Now there are reasons also that these tissues tend to get more likely to have cancer. And that is because of some of the infections that increase people's risk of cancer. So today we will talk about which. Today we're talking about the top 4. Important facts. Anyone can get cancer. Different ages get different types of cancers. Who knows what type of cancer is common in young people your age? I want to volunteer. Someone raise their hand who thinks they know. Nobody. Okay, let me ask when I volunteer, Andrea.
I'm going to guess skin cancer.
Skin cancer is an excellent guess. caused by sun. Now, Andrew is talking as an American, so we see that much more in people with white skin than dark skin. You have been blessed with natural protection from the skin, from the sun. So the sun doesn't damage your skin as much as it does light skin. But the most common in people your age and teenagers is blood cancers. Okay? So things like leukemia or lymphoma, those tend to be more common in young people. Okay. And then the other point on this slide, when detected at an early stage, cancer can be stopped. Okay? And so that's why we're all here today, to talk to you about cancer, how to screen for cancer, so that you can know if you have it early and prevent it from causing death and other problems. Once it has spread throughout the body, so the points on this slide should be taken away is treating cancer is expensive. I can't tell you how many people it is to treat cancer here, but I am sure it is way beyond any school fee you will ever have. There's not a lot of organizations. There's a lot of people that give money for the treatment of HIV and AIDS. Even people who give money to treat malaria and tuberculosis. But cancer, for some reason, there's not a lot of organizations donating money. So we say it's not subsidized. So it means you're going to be paying it all from your own pocket. Okay? Those suffering from cancer say it's very painful. I often hear teenagers say, "What's wrong with smoking? I'm going to die one day anyway. Why not die of lung cancer? Maybe I'm going to die anyway, so I like smoking. I want to smoke." But they don't realize what it's like to die from lung cancer. It's not just going to sleep and never waking up. It's not just getting shot and dying quickly. Lung cancer kills you slowly and painfully. So it's another reason that my heart goes out to people with cancer. And another reason that it's important to detect it early. The best means of stopping cancer is creating awareness. Awareness of the disease, what it is, and awareness of how to prevent it. Alright, 6 most frequently diagnosed cancer types. We kind of talked about those. Remember? Colorectal, liver cancer, lung, prostate, cervical, breast. Okay? But we're going to just talk about the 4 here. Okay? We don't have time for everything, but we're happy to answer questions after. Alright, so now it is March. But in January was Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. Did you all know that? I didn't either. It wasn't made very aware here in Cameroon, I don't think. But there was some things on the news. If you read CRTV, there was a couple things that are happening in Yaoundé. But it needs to be made more aware. So that's why we're teaching all of you, so that you can tell your friends as well. And remember, next January, Cervical Cancer Awareness Month, right? Cervical cancer is cancer of the cervix. Now, we're going to have some pictures shortly. Otherwise, I'm not sure. Do you all know what a cervix is? I was clear to that. Okay. We'll look at some slides with pictures of the cervix. Another one. There we go. Voila. Okay. Let's see if I can point here. This whole U-shaped organ here is your womb. Okay? Uterus is the technical term for it. Every woman has a womb. vagina, now you can't see it from the outside, is called the cervix. This end part there. Okay? The cervix is just basically that end part of your womb, and it is made of, has extra specially dividing cells. So the cervix is what opens up to let the baby out when a woman is pregnant. We talked about cervical dilation. You can't even really feel your cervix. Some women can. They put their finger in their vagina when they're putting a tampon in or they're inserting an ovule. But otherwise, most of us aren't really aware of our cervix. You know, it's there, but we don't think about it. People worry about, itches, vaginal itches, also known as sugar. Okay? And no one thinks about the cervix. Of course, cervix is neglected. Okay, so this is what we're talking about when we talk about cervical cancer, is when there's cancer cells invading this portion of the uterus. Okay? So let's go back a couple slides now. One more. Perfect. Cervical cancer. Now you have something, a picture in your mind, right? Okay. I'm going to tell people, I learned about malignant neoplasms today. Of the cervix. Cervical cancer symptoms are often absent. In other words, we don't often see many symptoms until it is very advanced. The cervix sits up there next to our womb. Really doesn't say much. It's very quiet until things really go wrong. So sometimes there are some symptoms, but usually when you are in what's called advanced stages, so when the cancer is further developed. And then on this side here we say some vaginal bleeding sometimes happens. Not very variable. But that is one of the symptoms of cervical cancer. So let's move on. Okay. 2 pictures. Now, as a physician, as a doctor, when I'm looking at someone's cervix and examining it, this is what I see. Okay? So I don't get to see, that whole diagram of the womb and everything. I just see this part. Okay? But this is the part that's important to see, because this is the part that has cancer. So over here you see a normal one. It's nice and smooth. It's pink. Doesn't have any roughness to it. It's not hard. It's soft. Okay? That's a normal cervix. One that's been infected with cancer cells is on this side. It's kind of hard to see. But an abnormal one it feels different. It has rough areas, it has little bumps, and it bleeds much more easily. So even if you're not having bleeding, sometimes just touching a cervix that has cancer makes it to bleed. Okay, next. Alright, now we're back up to our cancer and cervix. Okay. So, starting with normal, we move over to slightly abnormal, to more abnormal, to the very worst, way on the far side. Okay? The goal is to find cervical cancer before it gets to stage 4, where it has already invaded the uterus, the womb, and the rest of other organs. Okay? So here's our normal. And then we go here. This is the stage in the prevention of cancer where you can treat it and cure it. When it is just locally involved, you just have some abnormal cells of the cervix. But you can see that the cells have not moved up into the rest of the body. Okay? You guys see that? Okay. It's important to know what stages you're looking at here. So this is called early. This one says stage 1 to 8, but early is all you need to know. Now, sometimes women will find it in stage 2, or kind of middle stage. You can see it's invaded a lot more of the cervix, but it still hasn't moved outside into the rest of the body. So this is the stage you can treat, but a woman, in order to treat it, has to have what's called a hysterectomy. That is where they remove the entire uterus. Okay? So, what would you prefer? To find the cancer when it was early, and you can just cut out this abnormal area and be fine? Or to have your entire womb gone? Yeah, I'd rather find it here. Okay? Now, unfortunately, many women never have any screening for cancer. And it will get to this stage before anything is ever found. At this stage, women are losing weight. They look like they have HIV and AIDS because they're skinny. And they eat, but they don't gain any weight. They're not fat, they're thin. And they have low blood, anemia. And they have lots of pain down here. And they have bleeding. Okay? But by the time it gets to this stage, so better to find it early than late. Next. Causes of cervical cancer. What a great slide. Okay, we talked about all the terrible things about cervical cancer. Now, losing your womb, bleeding, dying, all those great things. See, men, aren't you glad you don't have a womb? Wait till you get to prostate cancer. But they have discovered there's a virus called HPV. Okay? It's not too hard. The full name is human papillomavirus. But if you remember HPV, I would be very happy. Okay? The virus is a picture of one under a microscope, enhanced and everything, but it's so small you cannot see the virus. HPV is spread through sexual contact. Okay? So if you have never had sex with anyone, you do not have HPV. HPV normally causes just small little bumps on the vagina or the penis. HPV can infect men, and men can give it to women. But it doesn't cause cervical cancer in men because, why? Men don't have cervix. Not fair, but anyway. But I know they can cause small bumps on the outside. Now, there's other things that can cause small bumps as well in the vagina, but HPV can cause small bumps. But unfortunately, the virus never goes away completely. Once you have HPV, you always have HPV. Okay? And the virus infects normal cervical cells and causes them to mutate more. Okay? And so they have discovered that women who are infected with the virus have a higher risk of getting cancer than women who do not have the virus. Now, that doesn't mean that if you have HPV, you will definitely get cervical cancer and die. Okay? That's the good news, right? But it does mean that if there was a vaccine to prevent this virus from infecting you, wouldn't you want it? So, the virus makes you much more likely. It increases your risk of getting cervical cancer. However, it does not mean you will get it if you have HPV, okay? But there are ways to decrease your chances of getting this virus. And I think the presenter will be giving us a small talk too about that. Alright. Symptoms of cervical cancer. Remember, usually there aren't many. Not until this very late and advanced stage. Early does not cause symptoms. When it grows large, then women may notice. Here's just a list. Now keep in mind that these symptoms can be caused by many other infections. So if you have these symptoms, it doesn't mean you're dying of cervical cancer. Okay? But it does mean that you should see a doctor. Abnormal vaginal bleeding. Bleeding that occurs between your menses. So your menses comes, you get bleeding even after. Bleeding after sex. douching or an exam, menstrual periods that last longer or are different, pain in your pelvic area, you don't know where that is, bleeding even after you've gone through menopause. So this doesn't refer to the young women here, but to us who are older. Maybe you've reached that stage where you no longer have your menses. But if you start having bleeding again, very bad sign. Pain during sex. And then the caveat at the bottom is other infections can cause similar symptoms. Next. Once again, cancer symptoms may be absent until it's advanced. Maybe there is sometimes vaginal bleeding. If you have vaginal bleeding that's abnormal, see your doctor. Need I say more? Alright, prevention of cervical cancer. Okay, listen up, girls. This is where, this becomes interesting. HPV vaccine. There's now a vaccine that prevents the virus from infecting men and women. Mostly it's given to women because women were worried about it causing cancer. Men were not really worried. We don't care if there's a few bumps on the penis. But there is some debate out there about whether it would be good because men can give it to women. Right now, there's not enough of the vaccine to give to everyone. But there are vaccines out there to prevent it. Smoking avoidance. Smoking causes carcinogens. Those are chemicals in your body that cause cells to mutate. So smoking increases your risk of many cancers, one of them being cervical cancer. Nutrition and exercise. Vitamins help decrease your risk of cancer, many different cancers, including breast cancer, but cervical cancer as well, because they have oxidants that neutralize what we call free radicals in your body. So they basically help protect your body. So fruits and vegetables, the popos, your jama, there's lots in Boya. You can name them all, plums, African apples, etc. Very good for helping you stay healthy. Okay, I'm sure you've got it all. Alright, number D, awareness. Make women more aware of HPV. And I would add on here, make men more aware of it as well. Okay? Because men need to know that there's a part they play as well. And screening, so finding the cancer cells before it spreads. Okay? Now there are two types of screenings available in Cameroon. Plastic spoon. It looks like a sort of very small. And you just kind of gently touch the surface of the cervix. Okay? Now it sounds kind of funny, right? But it's not painful. Okay? None of the doctor does it well. It's just not fun. Okay? It's not something I have women going, oh doctor, I'm so excited, it's my pap smear again this year. Okay, but it's not something that you should say, I'm not going because it will cause me too much pain. It's not painful. Okay? But this is an example of a woman. She's lying down. Okay? This is what we call a speculum, this metal instrument here. And all it is it's letting the doctor insert something into the vagina so that he or she can see. Otherwise, the vagina is closed. Okay? So all of this is to let you see. And then this instrument here, okay, it's like a small plastic spoon. All you do is you touch the cervix. But that allows you to collect some cells. Okay? And then the cells are sent to be examined by a pathologist to see, are they abnormal? Are they abnormal cancer cells? Or are they normal? Okay? So that's how you can find cancer early. Much easier than waiting until you're bleeding. No. Come back one more. The pap smear here see here, it says it should begin screening no later than 3 years after your first sexual experience. And why do we say that? Basically, women who have never had sex don't get cervical cancer. Because it's mainly caused by the HPV vaccine. HPV virus. That virus. So if you've never been exposed to the virus, you don't get it. And it's also slow growing. So the first year after you begin sex, there's almost never any problem. So we say after 3 years you should have a screening test. Okay? Next. Alright. Early detection. This is called VIA. Visual inspection with acetic acid. Anyone take chemistry and know what acetic acid is?
Those in doing science, please defend yourselves. Don't acetic acid. Sorry. It's a commercial school.
Oh, okay. No problem. Well, I'll just give you a very brief science lesson then. Acetic acid is a fancy name for vinegar. You've all used vinegar in cooking, right? Yeah. Okay. So, it's very easy to do. Again, like in the previous slide, you have to see the cervix. So it requires putting the speculum inside the cervix and looking. But instead of taking cells with a plastic sample, you put on a cotton swab some vinegar, and that turns the abnormal cells white. So the doctor can see the abnormal cells if there are any. So that's the basics for that test. Okay? The nice thing about this is you are there, you see it, you take care of the problem, the woman goes home. There's nothing else. With a pap smear, you have to send the cell sample off to the pathologist has to read it, and then if there's anything abnormal, the woman has to come back again. So it's just 2 ways of doing it. Okay? Both are very effective.
Let us get some rest. I told you celeBritys for Africa is an organization that seeks to prevent cancer. But we have just seen cervical cancer. A doctor has said this here that if you don't have sex, a girl, because boys don't have cervical cancer, is it true? Hey, guy, can you have cervical cancer? Yes, sir. Okay. So please, I took this time off from her, not only that she should have some rest, but it is to draw your attention to what sexual activity can cost you. Is it clear? The girls stand a higher chance of losing their focus when they start getting involved in sexual activity. I would like this, my sister Angela, to come on stage. Angela Philomena. Is your name? Come up, please. This is a Form 2 girl. What do you want to be in your life?
An accountant.
Clap for her, please. Angela, stand here, please. She has a vision for her life. She has a plan. You have a plan for your life, right? Your mother, your parents, do they know that you want to become an accountant?
Yes.
Angela will become an accountant if she sticks to her plan. You know what to stick to a plan means? Stand firm. If something, as you are growing up, if somebody comes to you and tells you that, Angela, please, don't read those your books, come, let's go and eat roasted fish. What will you say? That is not part of my plan. Because it's not part of your plan. The time you are supposed to be spending reading, you will be spending that time going left and right. And please, 90% of the time, you spend that time not doing anything useful for your plan. If you go out here, I want to challenge all the girls in here. If you go out here from this your gate, right down to the petrol station. You look by the roadside, you will see girls, women, who are not up to 30, 40, with children around them. Do you think those young women doing call box, struggling to sell this one, struggling to sell this one, whereas they went to secondary school, they went to primary school, do you think that was their plan when they were like Njema? Please, I'd like you to tell me, do you think it was their plan? So they were not focused on their plan. That's why they got themselves involved in sexual activity without, first of all, attaining their objective. It is very important. Why so? Because 99% of girls who drop out of school because they have gotten themselves involved in sexual activity. They have children, unwanted babies, they have STDs, sexually transmitted diseases, they have AIDS, they have cervical cancer, they have... When you receive phone calls, come here, can you still focus on what you are doing? Njema, on behalf of Celebrities for Africa and in front of Reverend Father, I promise you, we'll pray for you, but we'll also make sure that from time to time we'll come and see you to ask you, are you still following that plan? Please, every day, if you, Njema, you should remind yourself when you wake up and you are thanking God for giving you life, that Father, please help me to make my plan come true. It is important. Those women out there, you should not mock at them, but you should understand that they didn't stick to their plan, because it takes a lot of courage to stick to your plan and achieve what you want to achieve. And if Dr. Tracy did not stick to her plan when she was growing up, she wouldn't be a medical doctor. If I did not stick to my plan when I was growing up, I wouldn't be a teacher. I've been a teacher for 15 years and I'm still teaching. And it's wonderful. My father was a primary school teacher. I'm a secondary school teacher. Who tells you? If my son, please, you will attain your objective if you stick to your plan. And girls, your friend Njema, when she starts telling you that please come, it is just for 10 minutes. Let's go and sit in that place and eat roasted fish, because that's what happens. If you have a friend who starts always talking about property, new shoes, new shirt, new this, where does she get the money from? That is not part of your plan. Your friend who tells you, please, let's go and read, that is part of your plan. Learn to know, to make a difference between that, and you will discover that 5-10 years from now, you will be an accountant, and all of us will be so proud of you. Thank you. God bless.
Excellent, thank you very much. Stick to the plan. Okay. October, Breast Cancer Awareness Month. October will come, it's still a ways away. But we'll make some summaries here in order to stick to time. Okay? We'll stick to our plan too, Alright, next slide. Breast cancer. Let's start off with a very graphic, what would we say, picture? Okay, this is not something any of you want, I'm sure. Now, this is a picture of a very bad breast cancer. This is a cancer that has had a long time to grow and spread, okay? But this is why we are talking to you, so that you can learn to detect it early before it gets to something like this. As I'm sure that this cancer has now already spread throughout the rest of the body. Next. Alright, symptoms of breast cancer. Abnormal feeling of the breast or nipple. Nipple tenderness or lump or thickening. Other changes, what we call nipple retraction, where the nipple of the breast goes in instead of out. The skin changes. It's red or it's swollen or resembles the skim and orange. Or discharge from the nipple that is like cloudy or bloody. Okay, all of those are signs of breast cancer. What is the most common sign? a lump in the breast. Okay? Next. So, how do we prevent getting to the stage that we saw? When you are young, what you can do is perform what we call self-breast exams. You need to become familiar with your own body. Okay? It's not something that you need to be ashamed of. It's not something you go do out in public either. Okay? This is something you do in the privacy of your home. But it's good to know that your own breast and to know what is normal for you. Everyone's breasts are a little bit different. Okay? But we talked to you earlier about doing a self-breast exam so that you know what is normal. So when you get older, if something becomes abnormal, if something is not right, you will notice it. Okay? Ages 18 to 39, we recommend that you schedule a visit with a doctor and have a doctor go over the breast exam with you and also perform the breast exam so that he or she can confirm what you are feeling. By the age of 38, baseline mammograms. Ages 40 to 49, mammograms every year, but that depends on different clinical factors. That will depend on a discussion between you, the doctor, and whatever your mammogram results were. Okay? At age 50 and older, recommend mammograms every year. But in addition, you're always performing at least self-breast exams as well. So just having a mammogram doesn't mean that you stop checking your own breast, because you are the one who is most interested in finding cancer in yourself, right? As a doctor, I see a lot of breast cancers. No, I'm interested in helping everyone, but you have a personal interest in your own health, and so it's important to take charge of your own health, to be aware of your own body, okay? All ages, record your exams, keep your doctor's appointments, don't lose your books. You know how many people come to me and they're like, "Doctor, I can't find my book." And I go, "Well, what did the last mammogram say? What was the last test?" "I don't know, doctor." "What drugs did you take?" "I don't know, doctor." You got to keep track of your own medical records. It's important. Who's most interested? You. All right. Maintain a healthy weight. Follow a healthy diet, low in fat. Get regular exercise or sports. Don't smoke. Don't drink. Next. All right. Now this is a demonstration. Okay? So be serious here. Women's breast. You know, you have to do it in a systematic way so that you check every area of the breast. And that's the main point of these next few slides, is to show you that breast exams should be done in a systematic way. Okay? You shouldn't just do it haphazard. You should do that in an orderly fashion. Okay? The first thing is you look at the breast in the mirror. You should have a small mirror. Okay? And you look and see, and you raise your arms, and you say, "Does everything move freely? Or is there areas where the skin does not seem to move freely?" Okay? That's what you're looking for. Now, women's breasts, one side can be a little bit different than the other, but do you notice changes from the month before when you did your breast exam? Is another thing you... Next. Okay, this is demonstrating that first the woman checks her breast standing up. So she just does, and there are many different ways of checking the breast, but you want to use your finger pads, not your nails. This area. Okay? Y'all got that? That's the area that is most sensitive on your fingers, but it's also the best area to check your breast for. You want to press down on your breast tissue in a systematic way. Some people like to go up and down, up and down, up and down, so they cover the entire breast. Either way, the important part is that you check all of the breast tissue. Okay? The best time to check your breast is after your periods. Okay, everyone knows. Before your period, oftentimes you can have some small nipple tenderness. So don't check your breast then. Check it after your period when your breasts are at least sore. Okay? You want to do it at the same time every month. Okay, next. So there are 3 different patterns: circular, up and down, we say wedge patterns, whatever is most comfortable. And then the point on this one is you also check your breast lying down, and you feel and see if you can feel any lumps. You want to check one important area that's easy to miss. We call it the upper outer quadrant. That is a fancy medical name. Okay? But it means you're checking in this area. Now, it doesn't seem like there's any breast here, right? That's just your armpit. But there is some breast tissue there. And the most common place for cancer, breast cancer, is to be in this area. So don't miss the armpit. Next. Okay, now men, you thought this was not for you, right? There is a very small percentage of men who can get breast cancer. Men have nipples, right? Okay, point made. Men can get breast cancer. Now, you don't need to do breast exams, but just be aware that if you have any of these symptoms, you should be checked by a doctor, okay? Because early on, it's curable. But basically, if you have any lumps, changes in the skin around the nipple, puckering, redness, scaliness, discharges, those are not normal. So be checked out by the doctor if men have any of those symptoms. Okay, we ran right through breast cancer, but you all hopefully understand the importance of it, understand the importance of checking the breast, and when you get older, understand the importance of the mammogram, because the mammogram can see things that you can't feel. A mammogram is like x-rays of all of the tissue. So a mammogram can find things very early, and when you find a lump early, you can remove it. But when it gets to the point where you see it, like in the picture, there's not as much you can do. Alright. Currently September is prostate cancer awareness month. So we now have January covered, we have October covered, and we have September. Alright, let's move on. So here's a diagram for men. Okay? Can you all kind of get an idea? This is a cross-section of a male bottom with his penis and testicles. In the back there you have his rectum and his anus. Okay, here's your anus. And then right here you have the prostate. Okay? And the prostate, you can see, has some small tubes that go through it. And then it comes out through the penis. Okay? This goes down here, bladder up there. Okay? So you guys all have an idea of where the prostate gland is. It's not something you can see. Okay? It's inside of you. Now, on a physical exam, the doctor can examine the prostate. But how does he or she examine it? Takes a finger. You have to feel it. I can't see it. Okay? We call those digital rectal exams. Okay? But it involves putting a finger in the anus so that I can feel this part. So all I am feeling is this area here. Okay? So women, you get pap smears. Not very fun, but it's not painful. Men, you get digital rectal exams. Also not very fun, but not painful. Okay? So those are the ways that we examine the prostate, is we call it with your fingers to feel the prostate. Alright, the other point on this slide is that prostate cancer is a slow-growing cancer. So many men have prostate cancer, but they don't know it until much, much later in the disease process. It's a good thing, or many more people would be dying from prostate cancer. But it's also a good thing because you can find it. You have quite a long time period to find it in order to get good treatment. Next, symptoms of prostate cancer. Here's a long list. Now, these symptoms can be caused by many other things as well, okay? But some symptoms: need to urinate frequently, especially at night. Difficulty initiating or starting urination. Weak flow of the urine. Pain when you go to pee. Difficulty having an erection or painful ejaculation. Blood. Blood is just not normal coming from the penis. Frequent pain or stiffness in your back, your hips. Okay? Statistics say 1 in 3 Cameroonian men above 35 have prostate cancer. That's a lot more than have HIV. Not everyone experiences these symptoms. At times, prostate cancer goes without symptoms. Okay? But that's why you have to be examined. Next. Okay. So prostate cancer, how do you prevent it? Or how can you lower your risk of getting it? How can you be those 2 Cameroonian men that don't have it rather than the one that does, right? Alright. Try to eat fewer calories and exercise. Exercise is important even as we get older. It's important to try to stay fit, to do some type of sports. Try to eat less fat in your diet, less red meats. Most of you are probably not having to worry about your calcium intake, but if you're one of those people who thinks you need to take extra calcium, only the women, the men you don't need to. Eat more fish. Luckily, you live in Cameroon, and what do you have? I know you guys all eat lots of fish, so you're doing good there. Try to avoid lots of margarine. Margarine has trans fatty acids. You want to olive oil is good. Tomatoes have a chemical called lycopene. Lycopene has been shown to help prevent prostate cancer, so eat those tomatoes. Incorporate lots of vegetables. Now here is with broccoli and cauliflower. Right, this is the last cancer. You guys still awake? Take a deep breath. Appreciate those lungs, right? Without lungs, you couldn't breathe. You would be dead very quickly. Alright, lung cancer. Uncontrolled abnormal cells in the lungs. Alright, now we have November covered. September, October, November. And January. Okay, next. Alright, here's a picture to get you guys looking. On this side, you see a normal right lung. And then the left lung has a tumor. And then it's close up on this side. Okay? You can see the black areas of the lung. You can see how it's got like a mass in it. But basically that is a very sick lung. And when your lungs aren't working, you can't breathe. When you can't breathe, you die. Okay? So lung cancer is not anything fun to die from. I've seen people die from it, and I would not wish that for anyone, even my worst enemy. Next. So, causes of lung cancer. Lung cancer is caused by dirt in the lungs from smoking. Okay? Active smoking. 90% of lung cancer arises as a result of tobacco smoke. Cigarettes. Okay? We also say pipes and cigars. Cigarettes are the main one. It's also harmful if one of your friends smokes and you are breathing it. Okay? There's even been, many places in America where I live, they have banned smoking in public places. Because why should other people suffer from someone else's problem? Okay? So you don't want to be around cigarette smoke as well. Breathing, okay? In addition, they have found that if your father or mother had lung cancer or someone else in your family, you have a higher risk of getting it. So there is some genetic hereditary disposition. If you have lung diseases like COPD or some other emphysema, some of those can cause you more likely to get lung cancer. But the most common thing to remember on this slide is cigarette smoking. Okay? Smoking cessation is the most important measure to prevent the development of lung cancer. The last part here says air pollution. And sometimes there's not too much you can do about it. Different types of cancers. 4, right. We talked about cervical cancer, number 1. We talked about breast cancer. We talked about prostate and lung. Very good. Now, to help us develop healthy lifestyles and healthy attitudes, we've summarized it up here. Healthy habits. This helps reduce your chance of getting all 4 of these types of cancers. Okay? Being a woman, you don't get prostate cancer. Being a man, you don't get cervical cancer. But both of you can get breast cancer or lung cancer. All right, smoking cessation, healthy eating, regular exercise, maintaining a healthy weight. Now, right now you're young, you're growing, it's pretty easy. But when you get older, you might have to be more careful. Monogamous relationships and abstinence. Okay, very important, especially for cervical cancer. Completely avoiding or limiting alcohol. Cancer is painful, costly, and can kill you. So that's why we are here today, to try to remind you about cancers, to tell you that they exist, and to tell you how you can help prevent them, detect them early so they are treatable. Okay, but most importantly, how to have a healthy lifestyle so you will not get them. And you can tell other people so that you can help spread the news about these cancers. Okay? So you are our ambassadors now. Now that you have heard, it is your responsibility to tell others. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Please, we'll take just 3 questions, maximum 5. You ask all the questions, and Doctor will write down the questions, and after that, she will answer all of them. That just brush all of them. Please, before I take a question, Doctor has said something concerning the last cancer. Can you take those slides back, please? Lung cancer. How do people start having cigarettes in their hands? It's very important because these children in Form 1, Form 2, Form 3, those are the people cigarette companies target. Are you understanding? Cigarette companies don't target adults like Mr. Wong Joseph, the principal. They are already above that age. People cigarette companies target are children. They will never put a child on an advert, but they do research. Psychologists, the most intelligent people, they pay them. They do research on how can we help you to start smoking and keep smoking. Smoke. Why? Because it gives the money. So, how do you avoid starting? But you must know how it always starts. And it starts the way I started smoking 26 years ago. Through a friend. Please come. I was in Form 3. I was 13 years of age. My father would send me money because my parents were in Yaoundé. And I was in womb because I come from that zone. My father will send me money. All this guy is thinking about is if he has some money, he will buy food and eat. He's not thinking much about so many other things. I stumbled on classmates in Form 3 who were already smoking. They came closer to me and they will take money from me and tell me that no, we'll pay it back tomorrow. And they will not pay back. And what happened? They'll buy the cigarettes, smoke. And I'll say, but what are you people doing like this? What is this even? They'll say, no, taste. First, second, third, fourth, there you said no. My father doesn't smoke. So why should I smoke? Then one day I took it and they said, Drag it like this. I dragged it and sent out this. They said, no, drag it again. I mean, swallow the smoke. I swallowed it, and my brothers and sisters, I coughed. They said, no. They laughed when I coughed. They said, no, take it again, you will not cough. And that is the most shameful part of my life, because I don't smoke in public. Mr. Wongjo standing there was my classmate in 1990 in the University of Yaoundé. I'm not sure he ever saw me smoking. So the problem is this: starting an addiction is always very easy. Running it, stopping it, as Andrea said here, who is a counselor, will tell you, is very difficult. And some people spend all their lives never quitting that addiction. If that your friend comes and tells you that, this man, take, will you take? Will you take?
No.
Because if you take, those cigarette companies have studied us and incorporated chemicals inside the cigarettes, so that when you smoke, you get addicted. Your body always wants to have what? Those chemicals. It's not only nicotine, it's not only tar. There are over 100 of them. Please, what I just wanted to say here to Itaka is that never start. If the boys come around you, run away from them. If they insist, go and see Mr. Wong or the principal and tell him. You understand? That you have friends who smoke, they will not kill you. Don't be afraid. Thank you very much. Questions, please. I'm seeing a hand. Which way? Yes. Just shout. Yeah. The lady. Talk like a teacher. Come forward. Come this way.
Yes, Amira. I want to ask, because there are lumps in the breast, so I want to know how, if you have, like, if you discover a lump in your breast, how can you differentiate it with the original lump in the breast? That's the first question. Then the second question, I do not understand how to diagnose cancerous cells in the cervix using the vinegar.
So, how do you differentiate between lumps in the breast that have problems, and then how do you diagnose cancerous cells in the cervix? Doctor, can we just take all the questions and you brush them? Next question. Yes.
Yeah. I used to know a priest who used to smoke, and it was said he smokes for medical reasons, so I don't know if smoke can be
Good. A smoker telling you that he smokes for medical reasons. Will you believe that? Next question, please. At least one more question from that side. It appears all of you that were sleeping. So, what is the question? Yes, lady. That's wonderful. Then from 1 from 2 to 1 question.
There is a common saying that tattoos is cancer, so we should know it.
Okay, thank you. Tattoos is cancer. Yeah. Okay, in the absence of good, let's finish so that's the last question.
I'd like to find out if cervical cancer is only gotten from those between 18 and above.
Good. Okay. There is a gentleman or a lady. Where are the gentlemen? Yeah, lady, gentleman.
When you get a lump in the breast when it's operated,
after that, when you get a sharp pain, then what does it imply? Does it mean it's cancer then? I don't understand.
Doctor, are you getting her? Okay. You will understand very soon.
I want to ask if hard drugs like cocaine and banga, Indian weed, to give cancer.
Whether cane, marijuana, or other drugs do give cancer. Who has this top? Please, thank you. And the last.
I heard a cyst leads to cancer. It's a cancerous cell. So I don't know how it's contracted because it doesn't pain. And secondly, I want to know if asthma can lead to cancer of the lung because it's a lung kind of disease.
Okay, whether as you said a cyst or a cyst. Okay, a cyst. Thank you. It's been wonderful.
Okay. So just quickly, going with the first question, very insightful question. How can you tell the difference in a lump in your breast? How can you tell whether it is normal lump or whether it is cancer? That is a question that you and your doctor have to discuss. Because there are some lumps that we call are just normal fibrocystic breast lumps. But there are some that can be cancer, and so your doctor has to determine that by asking you many other questions concerning the lump. Things like how long had it been there, does it come and go, is it painful? And then she also has to examine the lump to feel, certain characteristics about the lump. There are different lumps feel different to a doctor. And even then, sometimes, in people who have a high risk of getting breast cancer, we have to do additional tests called biopsies, where the cells are looked at underneath a microscope. But that would be determined after talking to your doctor and telling them about the lump. So any lump is not normal, but some can be. But first you have to talk to the doctor to know if it is normal or not. So, excellent question. Number 2, how does the vinegar show cancer cells? Vinegar reacts differently in cancer cells than in normal cells. So when vinegar is placed on cancer cells of the cervix, this is not every cancer cell, this is just the cervix. When vinegar is put on the cancer cells of the cervix, they show up white. They're white. Normal cells do not change when vinegar is put on them. Okay? Another question. Can tattoos give cancer? I have not heard of tattoos giving cancer. I have heard of tattoos giving hepatitis B, which is a virus spread by blood. So infected needles that are used to give a tattoo. In the same line, if the needles used to give a tattoo have HIV on them, it can spread AIDS. So I'm not recommending tattoos, but I don't think they cause cancer. Another question. Can only people 18 and above get cervical cancer? This goes back to one of the earlier slides I was talking about. Remember where we said if you have no intercourse, you won't have cervical cancer. But once you start having sex, you should have an exam of the cervix after 3 years. Okay? So if a girl was 13, potentially she could have some early signs of cervical cancer by the age of 18, 17 even. But if a girl waits till she gets married and she is 20, 22, until she has sex with her husband, then she is definitely above 18. So it really depends on when you first start having your first sexual encounter, and then it depends on many other factors, how quickly it could grow. So it's uncommon in people less than 18, but it could be possible. Okay, 2 more questions. After you have a lump removed in the breast, then you have sharp pain. Can this be a return of cancer? It could be, but there is also scar tissue where the lump was removed, and that can also cause pain. So again, that's something that you and your doctor have to talk about to decide whether it is something dangerous or not. And last question, I was very pleased. It means you guys were listening. It said, does asthma cause lung cancer, or do people who have asthma, are they more at risk of lung cancer? And at this point, no. Asthma has not been shown to really increase your risk of cancer of the lung. But it is a lung disease. But it's kind of a little bit different than some of the other lung diseases. I think there was one more question about cyst. Do cysts cause cancer? There are some cancers that look like cyst. Okay? So that's probably where that question came from. Especially ovary cancer. We didn't talk about cancer of the ovaries, but there are some cysts that are one of the signs of cancer. But there are many that are not. So it really depends. They can or they may not. Hopefully that answers some questions.
Just to answer the question the young man said there, I asked there about cocaine and marijuana.
Okay, last one. Cocaine, marijuana, can they cause cancer? Yes. They are probably not as likely, but they still can, because what are you breathing in? Smoke. Okay? In addition, they are drugs that alter the cells in your body and can cause damage. And anything that damages the cells in your body can make you more likely to get cancers.
Okay. Please, can we just thank Dr. Trixie again before she sits down? Reverend Principal, thank you very much for giving us this opportunity to come here and do this presentation. Dear colleagues, we thank you for assisting. Dear students, I know all of us know that you are tired, but the way you participated, the way you were attentive, shows that the message has gone through. All we plead from you, please, is to try as much as possible to look long term and start doing the things that you are supposed to do to be where you want to.
Because a very, very advanced sound system that facilitated a talk. And traditionally, when you give a talk of this magnitude, the first place I want to call all the students to give Dr. Trixie a super. All the students give Dr. Trixie a super. Carry on. I also call on the students to give Mr. Lee and the others a bang the get please. All the members of this entourage, I want to say that you are very, very grateful because, as I earlier mentioned, it was quite enriching. What kills most of us, and what told our students here, is that if you are not informed, you are deformed. And at times, when Africans die of something which is natural, they say it's witchcraft. I can quite remember that we have always reminded them that premarital sex is not good. We have told them about the consequences of taking alcohol while still smoking. Sometimes like father is too hard, or some teachers are too strict. You now understand why sometimes when you are too ill or you are too sick or you are not widely suspecting that she's a genius. And we are sure if she remains focused, she will become an accountant. Many other students have the potentialities, but you've gotten it clear from them, please. Those things that distract will continue fighting ferociously against. We want to thank you very much, and I want to appeal that you will come many more times, because health is wealth. And you've heard from what they have said. They said no to alcohol, said no to premarital sex, but once in a while you need the cream, the ice cream to give you energy. So always give you what you need, not what you want. So I want to send a warning signal to some of those boys who have had it difficult to understand that even during holidays, you should stay clear of alcohol. And of course, I'm happy the way she answered the last question. Then as soon as you get into premarital sex, even if you are at the age of 10 or 11, you should already be ready for cervical cancer. So you choose, and we would like to see our students, as you see them, clean as they are, healthier as they are, to go places. So I want to assure Dr. Pacis and the entourage, I was so grateful, and you realize that you were very attentive. That is a man which we are always proud of them. So please, dear students, while they will go into the conference room for something light, remember it's Friday, you are free, you have relaxation. The cream is available. Today is 1 kilo, tomorrow is 2 kilograms. Say no to alcohol, say no to premarital sex. Of course, we should not be talking about cocaine or marijuana. Perfect. So I will bless the students, bless the entourage, and you will assemble at the basketball court for the girls at 6:30 p.m. for evening prayers and straight for supper at 7 p.m. So thanks for your keen attention. You're welcome.
Library. Just put this, we'll be bringing more things for the library. That's what it is.
Let's all of us rise for the prayer. Please, number 2, you stay put so that the entrance will move first before you can move out. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Almighty Father, we thank you for the enlightenment we have received today. We thank you for the wonderful word you have given us. We pray that we will cooperate with you to protect and preserve that good health. Give us the strength to know you, to love you. And may you continue to give the Christian and the entourage blessings to transmit this information and to help humanity to be healthier and to be closer to God. This we ask through Christ our Lord. The Lord be with you. Almighty God bless you all, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Welcome.